Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our council chamber. And thank you for joining us for another council meeting in the city of North Miami. The meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Estimate Irvin.
Here.
Vice Mayor Keys. Councilman Desilme.
Here.
Councilman Galvin.
Here.
Mayor Bieneme.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. And now let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance by Officer Jean-Pierre Calderon, followed by the invocation with Pastor Eddie Lenoir from Westview Baptist Church.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you now for this privilege to be able to come, be able to recognize that we're here, to be seen and not viewed. We thank you for this city. We pray that you would cover its leadership and all that comprise of making our city great. We ask that your presence will be with us, shield us, cover us, and guide us. In the most holy and righteous name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now we have a special presentation, Keeping Current, Repetitive Loss Properties presentation by Van Allen Institute. Please come forward.
Hi, Councilwoman.
How do I share the presentation? Oh, okay, great. Okay, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to present to you today. I will try and make it brief, as that has been the request. I'm Jessica Lax, Director of Strategic Initiatives at Van Allen Institute. We are a 125-year-old nonprofit based in New York City that looks to improve cities through design. And we've been working on a series of climate adaptive work. Oh, sorry. Thank you. And so we've been working on a series of climate adaptive work throughout the country for the last almost decade. One project being Rebuild by Design, which looked to address storm events in the Northeast, resulted in $1 billion in HUD funding to implement some of those ideas, as well as a project in Louisiana looking at the Mississippi Delta and rerouting the river and helping the city come up with a master plan. We have a new project that we've been working on for the last 4 years in Miami called Keeping Current, which looks to develop implementable and replicable solutions to sea level rise through the lens of economy, ecology, and equity. The project's funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, the Knight Foundation, Kresge Foundation, Miami Foundation, Target, and Terra Group. It kicked off with a convening of Miami University, FIU, FAU, and the University of Florida. We have a project with the City of Miami redesigning Jose Marti Park for climate adaptation. But we're here today to talk about a project we have with you all called Repetitive Loss Properties, looking at repetitive loss sites in North Miami. So repetitive loss properties are essentially sites that are repetitively flooding. They're FEMA designated sites. They increase insurance costs for residents as well as for the city. And also if enough insurance claims have been made there, it's difficult to build, or you're not allowed to build, essentially. And so we came to the city and asked them if there was a project they wanted to do around climate adaptation, and you have a pretty amazing group of folks working in the city, and they suggested a project around repetitive loss properties to be sort of a spearheading group thinking about being proactive, solving for this issue. In 2005, a long time ago, 15 years ago, FEMA came out with a report saying there was over 2,000 of these types of sites in the Miami-Dade region. So you can just imagine how many more of them there are now. So very grateful to be working on this with you all and being the first ones to be thinking about a strategy for this. And basically what we're doing is creating a master plan as well as a pilot project on 901 Northeast 144th Street. So for folks that are not familiar, located here. What we're mainly trying to do with this project is figure out a way to reduce the insurance costs, so CRS points, increasing them. We want to create a community use. Right now it's just a vacant lot. And we want to make this something that is replicable and scalable so you can address this with other repetitive loss properties you might have. We've done a lot of community engagement events. We actually had one last night on the site. Thank you to Councilmember Galvin for joining. We've also had Councilmember Irvin joined for our other community engagement events and planned one of her own on August 4th. We've had about, I want to say, 6 or 7 community engagement events at this point, as well as 2 surveys that we've done with the community. And we're going to have some folks talk about that more. Before I turn it over to talk about community engagement, and then we'll talk a little bit about the designs, I just wanted to explain a little bit our role in all of this, which is facilitating this project in general, and also the resources for the project, financial resources, which is about $80,000 in dollars, is coming from Van Allen and from our funders. And so this isn't a project that's funded by the city, although the city has been very gracious in providing in-kind services and resources. And so that, I'm going to turn it over to Irvon's.
Hello, Council. I'm actually very excited to be here. Actually, I spent a lot of time in North Miami.
Can you say your name on record, please?
My grandparents went to several of the Haitian churches here, and I have a lot of family friends here, so I'm actually very excited to
Can you say your name on record, please?
My name is Irvon's Augustine. I'm a co-founder of Urban Impact Lab. We're a Miami-based firm that uses creative community engagement to help transform public spaces. So as Jessica mentioned, like, we are working on the community engagement as part of this project. As part of the work that we do, we believe that every resident should have the opportunity to help shape their community. And working with Van Allen on this Keeping Current project, this kind of helps bring this project to life. And being able to be the local strategic community engagement partner has been amazing. So for like the last few months, we focused directly on engaging the community in and around the lot. We've had, we've done a lot. We've done a lot of direct door-to-door engagement. We facilitated 6 public events with over 250 residents. We've conducted 2 surveys, one of which is still currently active. We've coordinated and worked with a 6-member public outreach team on the ground. And through all of that, we've collected lots of feedback, and the project, the feedback from the residents has helped shape the winning project and design, which you will hear about shortly. Some of the things that the residents were saying that what they were interested in is that they would love to see the space remain green and open and natural. They did not want to see any fences, but they also wanted to see the space open and accessible. And Isaac from the Department Design will tell you a little bit more about the design itself, but what I basically want to say is that the design that you will see reflects not just the city's priorities, but also the residents' needs and their interests.
Hello, my name is Isaac Stein. Thank you for having us. I'm the co-founder of Department Design Office. We were the firm that was selected to build this pilot project and develop a master plan for the city of North Miami following an international design competition. Oops, wrong way. Here you can see the whole design team. I myself am standing in for everyone else. Andrew Akar, who is a local architect who grew up in Miami. Adler Guerrier is a Haitian American who grew up just outside of North Miami in unincorporated Dade, as well as with my partner Maggie Sang, who at Department Design Office. Just for your reference here, this white plus is the location of the pilot project that we're developing. And here, this is a 1870s land survey of the exact same region. So this is before any development in the area. And as you can see that the site is right in the middle of an old river basin of the Everglades. This is why this site is repetitive loss properties, because of its history. And there are on record around 70 repetitive loss sites in the city now, and many of those lie within areas that were once a river or Everglades outfall. One of our key objectives for this pilot project is to highlight and make visible the relationship between elevation, stormwater management, and the risk of flood to communities at large. Hidden by, typically stormwater infrastructure like this photo is hidden by layers of veils and fencing, and one of our key initiatives is to bring this back to the forefront to engage with the community so they're aware of the stormwater that affects their community and how they can work to adapt and to deal with these issues. Here you see a proposal of the pilot project that we're going to implement at 144th Street by the end of the year. We have an opening dated for December 15th, and we invite you to come. This stormwater park has two main objectives. First and foremost, which is to increase the capacity of this site to hold stormwater, hereby protecting the neighbors, the immediate neighbors, from flood events. And second is to do so in a way that creates a visible and engaging community space that raises awareness to the natural ecology through both public art and native planting and a path. So during the winter, during the rainy season, the river, the basin might have a water level of this, and during the dry season, it might have a basin that looks like this. And these day-to-day changes are part of what we hope to engage with the community to understand the complexity and relationship between the property that they live on and the ground beneath them. The park consists of a central basin that is around half the size of the park that helps protect the neighboring houses from being flooded, as well as being surrounded by a bioswale that filters the water that comes into the site from the neighbors and allows for a path for the community to engage to both with native planting and the site itself. The planting was selectively chosen to look back into the historic planting that existed in the city of North Miami on this site, particularly with low coastal hammocks, marsh prairies, and Everglades slough as you walk along the path with tags allowing individuals to realize what plantings fit at what elevation. This planting is also carefully chosen to buffer the basin from direct contact with the residents, with the basin itself being planted year-round and having sort of an ecological approach to protecting the embankment from erosion and from engagement with the direct engagement with the community. Furthermore, we're working with Adler Guerrier to develop artwork throughout the site that has elevation markers and signage talking about the native planting and the historic ecology of the site as a way for the community to engage with both what is at the site presently, how the site changes day to day with rain and with tides, as well as what the site once was, and help them understand the relationship between the water table, their home, and future risk that might occur. So we've been working closely with Van Allen and the city to solve safety, maintenance, and accessibility concerns with the project, working with ecologists and officials from within the city and throughout the county and out the nation. We have incorporated design details that allow this park to be an oasis for community members with minimal maintenance. And ultimately, we are very excited and grateful for the opportunity provided from you all and from Van Allen Institute and Urban Impact Lab to transform a vacant space into a stormwater park that reduces flooding for local neighbors, as well as creates a space for respite. And I think it's important to note that this site is just one of 70 sites that exist now. And if you implement 3 of these sites, your CRS rating will go up and flood insurance rates will go down. If you implement 30 of them, they will continue to go up. And if you implement all 70, flood insurance rates for the entire city could go down as much as 20%. Once, just to note again that the opening for the park is December 15th, and this park is due to limited funding and a quick timeline is somewhat in 2 phases, with the first phase being the stormwater protection measures, accessible pathways, and basic planting to create a safe environment, with a second phase that will include lighting, a shade pavilion, and additional tree plantings. We are currently looking for additional fundings to help make this public space more successful, and we would love to discuss opportunities in the coming weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Councilwoman Estimate, this is your district. Do you have any comment?
No, thank you so much for your presentation. I just want to know, I know that it's going to be completed by December 15. When are you actually going to start implementing the designs?
So we're actively working to get permits from the regulatory relationships in the county and pursuing contractors, but Early November, late October would be what we're shooting for in that frame. But again, as I mentioned, it's right now, there's grading and basic park design. We have fundings for that. But if we were able to allocate different fundraisers from institutions or individuals around the city, construction might extend for a second phase beyond December 15th.
Okay, so altogether, how long do you think it'll take? So once you have the permitting, the time frame that it'll take to complete the entire project in its entirety?
It depends, but I'd say the heavy earthwork, like when there's a tractor there, would be very minimal with like a 2 to 3 week window.
Okay.
So it's not, and it's like only one tiny tractor. It's not like big commotion going on in the site.
Okay.
But planting of the trees, which is just, like a truck dropping off trees, that might extend a couple of weeks after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
I have a quick one, if I might.
Go ahead.
A fantastic project. I was very impressed by what I saw when I was out there last night. Mr. Mayor, through you to staff, this is one location. How many other potential locations does the city own across the city where something like this might be done?
He just said.
Okay, I must have missed it. I'm sorry.
He said 70. 70 is in the city or throughout the county. Okay, go ahead.
I think your question was how many do we own?
Yes.
The city,
We
correct.
only own 2. So this is one of the 2 that are being proposed for the pilot.
Do we own any other vacant lots that are not being considered for this that might be considered, or are we just going to do 2 and be done?
There's just one more that could be considered for that type of adaptive reuse.
Okay. And does the city own any other open lots that we might use for things like affordable housing?
Yes. So there is a site right now that's being considered for affordable housing.
How many of those?
Within the central city.
How many of those approximately do we own?
There's about 3 on the books that could be available for affordable housing. One that's actively being engaged right now.
Okay. And this project here is going to cost approximately, did I see $80,000, 80?
Yes, that's the budget from Van Allen.
Here's what I'm getting at. This is great, thumbs up. If we just do it once and then move on, shame on us. So I'm looking to figure out in my head how many other sites we have to do this at, potentially, and potentially what it would cost to do there. From what I'm hearing, we have one other, and it would be an additional $80,000 if the city wanted to fund it itself.
And the one other is in a repetitive loss area. The other 3 that I mentioned before, those are not within that concentrated flood-prone area.
Okay, the affordable housing potential locations are
Correct.
just open lots. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for.
What is the location of the other one?
I just want to say one thing just for clarity's sake, is that this project cost $80,000, but the amount of service that we as a whole and the design team, and we're basically leveraging a lot of donations, and we're actively donating. The cost was probably realistically double that if it was just a typical city project with like bid servicing. So I just wanted to not mislead you with some numbers.
Thank you very much. Do you have the other location?
We don't have the address here, but we could get that to you, Mr. Mayor.
It's not Fifth Avenue, no?
No, it wasn't on Fifth Avenue. It's
Okay.
within the central city area,
Okay.
within the Arch Creek Basin as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. No other question. Let's move on to the next presentation. Let's go downstairs, please.
Mayor, for the record, Vice Mayor Keys is present as of 7:01 p.m.
Thank you very much.
They got started right on time today.
For the past 6 years, the city of North Miami has had the pleasure of hosting Hispanic Heritage Month celebration by showcasing the history, culture, and contributions of Latin American in our community. In honor of the 2019 Hispanic Heritage Month, Vice Mayor Carol Keys and Councilwoman Marie Estime Irvin will present the art unveiling and proclamation to the Cuban artist Margarita Cano. Please come forward.
Okay. First, I would like to thank everybody for coming to this evening to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with us. I also want to thank Pinecrest Bakery and Mimo's Mozzarella for sponsoring and catering the delicious reception you've had this evening. And I also want to thank our committee, who most we have a big committee that has been working. We work all year on many events, and we want to recognize Hispanic Heritage Month. So I want to thank everybody for taking their time. Rosa Henriquez, Chief Jiriga, our co-chair, and our librarian, Lucia Gonzalez. Rosa Henriquez are our chairs. So I want to thank them. They've really put in a lot of time and effort on this to make it a really nice event. Each year, Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th by celebrating the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors come from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. The observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon B. Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th and ending in October 15th. Tonight, in honor of 2019 Hispanic Heritage Month, we present Cuban artist Margarita Cano, with a proclamation and unveil one of her pieces of art which she so graciously allowed us to exhibit during this month, and you'll be able to appreciate on the walls in the lobby outside the council chamber. I also want to mention our artist, Ms. Cano, has been involved with our original mocha and coca for many, many years ago, more than 30 years. She's been with us for more than 30 years, so she is a local North Miami artist. And I'm going to ask, I've got, I'm going to let my co-chair, Councilwoman Irvin, read this.
Sure. So this proclamation is presented to Margarita Cano. Whereas Margarita Cano was born February 27th, 1932 in Havana, Cuba, whereas Ms. Cavana arrived from Cuba in Miami, Florida with her family in 1962. She has two children, Isabela Hernandez and Pablo Cano. And whereas Margarita's painting depicts biblical and art historical illusions, transforming memories into magic that reflects her Cuban roots and personal vision of Cuba, she documents this quest for democracy and freedom through metaphors. And whereas in 1963, Margarita started working at Miami-Dade public libraries and main libraries in downtown Miami, Florida, where she became the director of community relations and art services. And whereas Margarita created the Art Mobile, an alternative art exhibition space on wheels, which began the first permanent art collection of the Miami-Dade public library system. Whereas Margarita selected solo exhibition including 1993 Dreaming Cuba Galleries of Coral Gables, Florida, 1998 Vision and Definition, Cultural Resources Center, Miami, Florida, in 2003 Descending Exile, in 2005, and there's a lot more. So whereas Margarita has received many awards for her artistic talent, which include 1980 John Cotton Donna Award, 1992 Dade County School Board Award for the Development of Art Mobile, Who's Who in America Arts 19 edition 2005, and a whole lot more. Margarita Cano was selected as a featured artist for 2019 Hispanic Heritage Month art unveiling here tonight. Her exhibition will be on display in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month until October 31st, 2019. Now, therefore, in consideration for foregoing, I am not Mayor Philip Bien-Aimé, but Philip Mayor Bien-Aimé, Vice Mayor Carol Keys, Scott Galvin, Councilwoman Mary Esme Irvin, Alex Dezume, and on behalf of all the residents, do thereby proclaim Tuesday, September 24th, 2019, to be Margarita Cano's Day in the city of North Miami, and urge all residents to join us in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month.
All my life, I observed Mom draw, paint, and create. At first, there were Spanish icons. Then came the American primitive, inspired portraits of me and my sister. For a while, Mom painted still lives of flowers, and then one day she began painting large, abstract compositions on canvas. I loved seeing her create and evolve. Like the cycles in art, she would eventually return to the figure, which, with her photography and love of Byzantine icons. I don't know how she could find the time. For me, it is like lifting the curtain to a magical world of art and creative process. These days, my mom continues to paint and write her words of wisdom books sitting by the side of her bed. One day, she wrote something that made me want to pin it on the wall of my art studio. Justify your ideas only to yourself, for it's only you that must be totally satisfied. Always be free. Thank you, Mom, for always creating art, bringing us to freedom, and inspiring so many others. Thank you.
On behalf of the Hispanic Heritage Committee, we have a small present for her from South America.
The last presentation is by the Chief of Police, Larry Jeriga. It's Life-Saving Award to Officer Jean-Pierre Calderon.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'd like to ask our staff from the police department to join me up here. Additionally, I'd like to invite Chief Sean Hemingway, and I'm proud to introduce my friend and our neighbor to the east from Bay Harbor Islands. He's also the district director for the Florida Police Chiefs Association, Chief Sean Hemingway.
I have to move this down about 10 inches, so bear with me. Good afternoon. My name is Chief Sean Hemingway. Like Chief Juriga said, I'm with the Bay Harbor Islands Police Department, and I also represent the Florida Police Chiefs. I'm the District Director from Key West to basically Miramar. And tonight's my honor to bring up Officer Calderon. Tonight, this life-saving award is designed to recognize police officers for exceptional life-saving acts that take place and places their lives in danger, As you know, police officers put their lives in the line of danger each and every day they serve and protect their communities. Police officers also save lives, and we are here today to honor an officer who did that, Officer Jean-Pierre Calderon with the North Miami Police Department. At this time, I'd like to ask Officer Calderon to please come forward. Do you have family?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right. On March 4th, 2018, Officer Calderon was working an off-duty detail at the public supermarket located at the Northeast 6th Avenue when he was approached by a customer advising that female was in distress. She was crying hysterically, and Officer Calderon quickly dove into action. He hopped into his police car driving through the parking lot in an attempt to locate this frantic female. His investigation led him to a crowd gathered around a vehicle in the underground parking garage of an adjacent apartment complex. Officer Calderon encountered a critically injured male who was covered with blood in the back seat of a vehicle. He noticed that the male was losing consciousness, bleeding profusely, and had severe lacerations to his wrists and arms. Officer Calderon immediately took action, advising over his police radio of his location and the situation. He requested emergency medical assistance from Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, and additional backup officers started to respond. A large crowd was also gathering. Officer Calderon attempted to calm this hysterical crowd while also reassuring the victim without hesitation that he was there to save his life. Officer Calderon retrieved his SWAT-issued tourniquet and began to apply life-saving treatment to the male. As a result, Officer Calderon managed to suppress the bleeding by stabilizing the male prior to the arrival of the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. The victim was subsequently rushed to the hospital by Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and survived. Further investigation revealed that this individual was attempting to get out of the shower. As he was bracing himself, he fell against a mirror, putting his hand through the mirror and severely lacerating his wrist, causing a near-fatal bleed. Officer Calderon kept his composure and displayed exceptional life-saving skills under stressful circumstances, risking his life in the process without hesitation. Because of Officer Calderon's life-saving efforts and risking his own life, the Florida Chiefs Police Association is honored to award Officer Jean-Pierre Calderon with the 2018 Lifesaver Award. Congratulations, sir. And if I could just say one or two other remarks, you know, being in Florida Chiefs and being in Tallahassee frequently, this is not the first time this agency's been represented by us, issuing many awards, many brave acts, and you know it starts with the leadership of the mayor, the city manager, and of course their great police chief Larry Juriga, and I can say by no uncertain terms. And I can say by no uncertain terms, being new to Dade, maybe 7 years new to Dade now, coming into this is by far a premier police department, recently accredited, and we are certainly proud to be their neighbors to the east. So well done to your police department, well done to your leadership. Thank you.
Yes, I would just like to say that it's been an honor to serve on our department's SWAT team over the years, and overall it was a huge blessing when I was told that this gentleman survived his injuries that day. So thank you very much.
City events.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. I'm Unicia Baker. I'm the Senior Public Information Officer, and I'm here to share some of our city's upcoming outreach events, programs, and initiatives with you. The Museum of Contemporary Art North Miami is pleased to launch the fall season with the unveiling of the South Florida Cultural Consortium exhibition. This exhibition is made possible in cooperation with the Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs. This group exhibition presents work by artists exclusively from South Florida who live and work in Broward, Martin Monroe, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade counties. May the force be with you when National Night Out returns to North Miami on Tuesday, October 1st with the Star Wars theme. Join with local Jedi from the North Miami Police Department. Meet your neighbors and unite as a community at this family-friendly annual event, which offers free food, bounce houses, entertainment, and more. Be sure to wear your best Star Wars costume. The festivities begin at 5:30 outside of the North Miami Police Department. Hispanic Heritage Month is here. Wednesday, October 2nd at 3 p.m., kids are invited to Mocha at the library for a series of arts and crafts activities commemorating the month. Also, on Wednesday, October 2nd at 6 p.m., the NOMI Library invites you to a special book signing, lecture, and meet and greet with author Rose Hedgeman, which features her book, Father-Daughter Dance, A Night on the Red Carpet, which is an inspirational story about a young girl who learns how to cope with a difficult situation and experiences self-discovery. Signed copies will be available for purchase. The Hispanic Heritage Month celebration continues Thursday, October 10th at 3 p.m. with the return of the popular Teens Can Cook program at the North Miami Public Library. NOMI Library teens will get a chance to cook and taste traditional meals from Latin countries with Chef Dario. It's free and open to teens ages 13 to 18. Space is very limited, so RSVP today by calling 305-891-5535. If you're a North Miami water utility customer, please note that all in-person utility billing customer service needs are now being handled exclusively at the new City of North Miami Customer Service Center. Such services include new account creations, account reactivations, account closures, customer inquiries, payments, and sewer credit application submissions. The CSC is located right across the street. The address is 811 Northeast 125th Street. Be sure to have all required documents before visiting. NOMI Water Utility customers should also note that the city now has a new and improved online utility bill payment system. It's located on our e-services portal at northmiamifl.gov/utility bill. The new system has no minimum payment amounts, no convenience fees, and online delinquent account reactivation services are available. For more information about these important utility billing customer service notices, please call 305-895-9330. Stay up to date with the latest happenings in our city by visiting www.northmiamifl.gov and click on the Connect with NOMI icon on the homepage, where you can sign up to receive our monthly NOMI newsletter. Residents may also like the City of North Miami on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This concludes this evening's announcements.
Thank you very much. Do you have any project updates? Any hurricane preparedness update? Any update on hurricanes? No?
Nope.
Thank you very much. Mr. City Manager, do we have any addition, deletion, or amendment to the agenda before we move forward?
No, we do not, sir.
It's gonna
continue as is.
As it is. Okay, thank you very much. Can I hear a motion on the consent?
So
Tab
moved.
A to C.
I would like for tab C to be removed for discussion. Possible.
Tab C for discussion. Can I hear a motion on tab A and B?
So moved on A and B.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda, tabs A and B. The motion was seconded by Councilman Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Tab C.
Tab C, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, adopting a revised classification and pay plan for classified and unclassified employees of the city for the 2019-2020 fiscal year, providing for an effective date and all other purposes.
Do you have a presentation?
Yes, my name is Paola Pierre, Assistant Personnel Director. We are here for the approval of the classification and pay plan supplemental. Mayor and Council, we're proposing the city manager had approved a 2% effective 2% COLA effective October 1st, 2019 as a cost of living. This item is to match the IUPA PBA blue collar and white IUPA blue and white collar agreement that they have for 3 years. So therefore, the 2% will be a match for everyone to be at the same 2% COLA for the year 2019-2020. If you have any question, please let me know, and then I can go over the numbers with you. And then we also have there 2 new positions, and then one was adjusted, assistant to the finance director, replacing administrative assistant, because that person was getting a 2% cost of a 2.5% job basis when she was transferred to the finance department. It wasn't removed, but to align with the assistant positions that we have, and then the 2.5 job basis. So therefore, we had to change it to the position to assistant to the finance director. We also have the senior management analyst, replacing management analyst position that we have. And this is due to increase in responsibility for this position.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager, I asked because I wanted some clarification as far as the I guess the compensation provision for some of those, because I see some are. So what's the 5% base? Because I know you talk about the 2% COLA, and then some. I guess some is based on the job description, because some get 10% and
no,
those
are just the normal steps that are in those pay classifications.
Okay, my next question is, when do we go for, I guess, renegotiation with
next year?
Okay, all right. I think that's basically it. So it's the 2% plus the 5%.
Well, the 5% are already built into the pay plan. Naturally.
So it's a total of 7. Okay.
Yeah, and then the 2% was negotiated in the contracts.
The contract.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And then the item also went in front of the personnel board on September 16th. It were approved as well.
Okay.
Move approval.
What are just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
The 2 new positions are what?
Assistant to the finance director. This is not a new position. It just we're replacing it with the administrative coordinator. And the other one is a senior management analyst, replacing management analyst.
For what department?
This is from the city manager's office, the senior management analyst. This person has been in the position since 2016, though. It just a title change.
Thank you very much. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab C.
Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive, Unit 1A, North Miami, Florida 33181. Alex, at the last meeting, you made a point about the percentages on how much it was out of a budget. It is pretty high. If you go to the International City Management Association, for the size of a city that we are, which is between 50,000 to 999, the range is between 40% and 46% of a total general fund budget. Oak Park is 43%. I live in Oak Park, Illinois. Oak Park had 52,950 citizens. The city I lived in last before I came here was Falls Church, Virginia. We was our own city and county. In Virginia, it's different. It's kind of weird. We had our own courts, our own tax assessor for a small city of 10,175. We had two stops on the metro rail, on the metro system. I talked to, remember Scott? We had our own library, which was well funded in ours. In our city, now the taxes were high. It was $10.11 per 100. So the taxes were high, but we got good services, so I didn't complain about that. I didn't even attend a council meeting at Fall Church. But you know what the labor cost at Fall Church was? 41.3% of the total fund budget. And we had a court system, a tax appraiser, we had everything, including a school system. So we need to get our house in order. We need to get below an operating metric. In higher ed, my metric is 40%. That's the highest. And right now, I have a career college, and it's at 36.8%. We need to get our house in order. If we don't, guess what? The governor will come in here. It will be a financial emergency. They will take us over, and there will be 5 Republicans up here dictating our terms. And I don't think we want that. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open on the item.
Jessica Austin, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. Good evening. I want to know, is this increase going to throw the budget that you just passed off? And additionally, I noticed that these rate increases are all in the manager's office, if I understood it correctly. And I don't know if my understanding is correct, but a lot of the problems came out of the manager's office as to why we are in this, have a budget crisis of $8.4 million in the hole. So I don't feel that the budget manager's office should be rewarded for poor performance. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much, Public hearing is still. Please, thank you, please. What to clap? Public hearing is still open on the item. Tab C is open to the public. It's now closed.
Mr. Mayor, one quick question before we vote. Mr. Manager, explain to me the out of classification pay, section F, the second one, the one about the department head and yourself. If you out 3 consecutive workday, the next person in line is 10%.
Yes, the next person in charge. But for the deputy, we don't get this because it's just like the second person in command. If it's like a lower position.
So for the department heads,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
No, what is, go ahead and explain it to me.
1 second, sir.
Okay.
I get you the exact reading.
It says, when department heads are absent for a period of 3 days,
Yes.
3 consecutive work days, the next employee in line shall be appropriate department head, and be compensated at 10% above. Okay, that's just their pay, not extra.
Working out of class.
Oh, based on,
Yes.
okay. All right, thank you. I got it. Okay, thank you,
Do
Mr.
we have any question? Okay, no. Can I motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Do you have any question, Councilman?
No, I do not.
Thank you very much.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab C. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab D, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute a professional services agreement between the city of North Miami and Ross Engineering, Inc., to provide professional engineering services for completion of risk and resilience assessments and development of emergency response plans in an amount not to exceed $149,470, pursuant to request for qualifications number 08-17-18, continuing architectural and engineering services, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab D.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you under tab D is staff's recommendation for your approval of a contract with the consulting firm Ross Engineering Incorporated to develop a risk and resilience assessment emergency response plan for the city as required by the Federal Environmental Protection Agency for a not-to-exceed fee of $149,470. As reflected in the council report, Ross Engineering is one of the firms that was approved by this council at its February 12, 2019 meeting to be included in the city's list of pre-qualified consulting firms and was the top-ranked firm in its category of water resources and stormwater engineering services. As a result, staff has requested a proposal from Ross Engineering to assist the city in ensuring compliance with the federal regulatory requirements which were enacted into law in October of last year by means of the America's Water Infrastructure Act. This section of the law requires all community water systems which serve more than 3,300 persons, such as ours, to develop risk and resilience assessment and emergency response plans. In addition, the law identifies certain components of risk assessment and emergency response plans which must be addressed, and also establishes deadlines by which each system must certify completion of these assessment and plans to the federal EPA. With me tonight is Mr. Robert Ross and Mr. Ricardo Maristani on behalf of Ross Engineering, and they're going to provide a brief overview for the benefit of the council and also the audience members of the work that is required under this federal law.
Yes, good evening. I'm Robert Ross with Ross Engineering. This is Ricardo Maristani. We're here tonight because there are new requirements for drinking water, and the city of North Miami falls in the category Tier 2, which is 70,000 residents are getting water from your water plant. So you have what's known as a deadline for your risk and resilience assessment for December 31st of 2020, where certification has to be sent into the feds for the Environmental Protection Agency. And then that's followed up by your emergency response plan, which is due 6 months later on June 30th of 2021. So if you look up on your screen, you can see where we fall in. The city of North Miami falls right in the middle column as far as how many people are getting water, and therefore what your deadlines are to the EPA. Our job is to work closely with Whistler and his staff. We're all certified, including Whistler, with AWWA for this risk assessment and emergency response plans.
The act requires utilities
Can you
to...
use, can you say your name?
Ricardo Maristani.
Okay.
The act requires the utility to look at its system and look at different components, that's what this slide is showing here, system components to be considered, and pair them along with required risk and resilient assessment considerations as what they call is an asset threat pair. And what we'll do is we will follow the guidelines from the AWIA, the America's Water Infrastructure Act, and use the different AWWA standards that have already been published to be used specifically for this. And it comes up with a matrix for the city to better understand how to plan moving forward, as well as in terms of incorporating that plan into the capital investments, into the capital infrastructure, and as well as how to handle it during an emergency response.
All set. Thank you very much. And now let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on the item. Public hearing on tab D. Public hearing is now closed. Question on the dais.
Move approval.
Second.
Do you have any question? Madam Clerk?
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab D. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab E, proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement in substantially the attached form between the City of North Miami and Risk Management Associates, Inc., doing business as Public Risk Insurance Advisors, to provide the city with a public official and employment practices liability insurance coverage at a cost not to exceed $79,540, providing for an effective date and all other purposes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'm Karen Muir, Risk Management Director. And this item was procured through a request for proposal. In May 2019, we went out to bid for agent of record and brokerage services. And on July the 9th, 2019, it was awarded to Public Risk Insurance Advisors for brokerage services. So Public Risk Insurance Advisors went out to bid, and they actually approached 9 carriers, and the incumbent carrier, who is Ace American Chubb, responded, and they offered two options for renewal of this coverage: public officials and employment practices liability. The first option was for a $100,000 retention at $79,540. And this is an aggregate coverage of $2 million. The second option was for a $150,000 retention at a premium of $72,359 per year. Now, Risk Management did a cost-benefit analysis, and we took into consideration the last 3 years of our claims activity. And although the $150,000 retention seems to be better, in looking at it visually, it actually is not the most cost-effective. When we did the cost-benefit analysis, 19% savings can be realized at the $100,000 retention, as opposed to only a 9% savings over the long run if we went with the $150,000 SIR. So we're respectfully requesting that you approve the option 1 to procure this coverage for public officials and employment practices liability from 10/1/19 to 10/1/20 for option 1, $79,540 per year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is open on the item. Tab E is open to the public. Tab E is now closed. Council members.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any question? No. Madam Clerk.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab E. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Tab F.
Tab F, proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, approving the execution of a professional services agreement in substantially the attached form between the City of North Miami and Brown & Brown of Florida, Inc., doing business as T.R. Jones and Company, for the provision of excess workers' compensation insurance coverage at a cost not to exceed $162,945, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab F.
This item is for the procurement of excess workers' compensation and employment practices liability. And again, we went out to bid in May 2019, and on July the 9th, 2019, the Mayor and Council approved and adopted T.R. Jones and Company, doing business as Brown & Brown of Florida, as the agent of record for procuring this coverage. So they went on to market and they approached 18 carriers. And the incumbent carrier, Pidget, Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust, they came back and offered a rate of $162,945 annually at a 4.35% increase over the expiring coverage, which was through them. And the reason for this increase is just general standard payroll increase as well as a 1% carrier rate increase. And this is covering statutory coverage for coverage A on workers' compensation and employer's liability, $1 million at a self-insured retention of $500,000. And if you have additional questions, I have the broker of record here with me tonight, Tom Jones and Kathy Nicotra.
Thank you very much. Let's open tab F to the public. Public hearing is open on tab F. Public hearing is now closed. Member of the council.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab F. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estime Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much. Please think. Oh. Tab G.
All right, just as a matter of housekeeping, we have speaker cards located at the back, and I just want to thank some of the residents for who already completed them. Please be sure to fill one out for each item. There are 3 cards. One is completely blank. It's all white. There's another one that is in favor of, which is blue, and then there's one that's clearly against, which is the red one. So please fill out the card that you feel pertains to you, and it needs to be one for each item. So for example, I have one that was just returned to me. 2 items are marked there. That's not going to work. Please just do one for each item to facilitate when
Thank you very
we
much. Can I have them,
proceed.
please? And do you have any for tab G? Yes, thank you.
If I may, Mayor.
Yes. That's tab H. I have those here. Tab H.
Okay, so
Yes, go
if
ahead.
I may, Mayor, this is the first time that you all are sitting as the zoning appeals board.
No, no. We're not there yet.
Oh,
We are G.
we did- we flipped- oh, we're
That's
doing it
another
all. Okay,
item.
got
Yeah.
it, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Tab G, and let's see. Tab H. I'm not gonna take one card for 2. No. Okay. Okay. No, you. Okay. Thank you very much. Presentation on tab G.
Tab G, proposed quasi-judicial resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the site plan for
Excuse me, just say quick before. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
for a proposed mixed-use development on the 1.95-acre real property generally located at 950 Northeast 124th Street and specifically identified with Miami-Dade County folio number 06-2230-040-00020. In accordance with Article 2, Division 7, Section 2-701, and Article 3, Division 2, Section 3-204, through Section 3-206 and Article 3, Division 3, Section 3-302 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, Chapter 29, entitled Land Development Regulations, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.